Hi guys. So, I was watching this gentleman's video. He is, I guess, he's African American, but he's from, like, he descends from Sierra Leone. And people were commenting on his video because the video is about black people that claim Native American and Israelite heritage, and he basically doesn't believe any of those things are true. I personally need to look more into black people being Native Americans, but I know from my research and including the My Ancestry or TrueAncestry.com DNA upload that I just did, that yeah, no, I tie back to the Hebrews, and that these Hebrews, specifically in Spain, had the haplotype of the E1B1A, which is basically the haplotype of black people in America. So there's all this evidence out there from geographers, the DNA tests concerning the Hebraic origin of many black people in America. So it's no question to me that that's where we descend. He has not done his research, and so he doesn't know either way. He thinks it's black people just denying their African roots, which is completely fair because, I have friends that used to do this. Oh, I'm Native American. Oh, I'm part this, I'm part that, because they never wanted to claim their blackness. But what he doesn't understand is being Hebrew doesn't mean that you're denying your African roots. It just means that you are from a tribe that isn't necessarily the other tribes. So in Exodus 11:7, God says that he puts a difference between the Israelite and the Egyptian. Yeah, they both descend from Africa, but at the end of the day, their countenance was different. He said the women of Israel were more lively and they would give birth more quickly and that kind of thing. And so think about that. The opposite would be the Egyptian. And so there's an obvious difference between the two. You know, Egyptians worship many gods, and so do a lot of Africans. They worship many different gods. In fact, this guy that was narrating the video, he was off to a conference in Nigeria called the Oshan Conference. And I don't know if you guys know who Oshan is, but Beyonce has dressed as her a couple times when she was wearing that yellow dress and she had that crown around her head, and it was kind of spiky. This is Oshan. This is the same as Ishtar. It's the same as the Statue of Liberty. It's the same as the Queen of Heaven in the Bible, where God said, basically the Israelites were worshiping the Queen of Heaven, and he was not very happy with it. So these are the gods that a lot of these Africans, these native African tribes, have been worshiping. They haven't been monotheists. And so there is a difference between us and them because we worship the Creator. You know, the Creator said, "You shall have no other God before me." So they are doing wrong by doing that. Anyway, because he's not of the knowledge that a lot of people have yet, you know, he's assuming that all Africans are just supposed to join together and become one. But the thing is, with that mentality, you are subtracting the Creator from it. It's another form of humanism, basically. It started in, I think, the 18th century by, you know, black people from the West. I don't know why it started exactly. It sounds like they wanted some economic benefits and this kind of thing. They felt by all the African countries, you know, joining together and loving each other, something great would happen. But that is not what God has ordained, you know. There's a reason why Egypt exists, and that is to scatter people into a land in which is representative of their rebellion against him. That's why the Israelites were scattered into Egypt, because they rebelled against God. He said, if you go against me, I will scatter you in slave ships. It's right there in Deuteronomy 28, back to Egypt. America is a sort of spiritual Egypt. That's why all these people came here on slave ships. He said, I'll put a yoke around your neck and you'll hate your kids and your kids will hate you. All these kinds of things. And so, you know, these things aren't of coincidence. And as much as we hate all these things of the world, unfortunately, the reason why they exist is because people refuse to follow God in spirit and in truth. You know, when you're worshiping a Shan, when you're going to a conference to honor her, you're slapping God in the face, basically saying that I'm going to give credence to this fallen angel over you. That's wrong. Therefore, the Israelite and the Egyptian, or whoever African tribes are worshiping this Shan, they cannot intermingle with one another, because what's going to happen is the Israelite can possibly take on the ways of this other tribe and fall away from God. God is against that. The best thing that can happen is that tribal person ends up coming into the fold of God. And that's what Ezekiel 37 and 47 are basically about. Like, anyone who joins Israel becomes Israel, and they get to share in the light of God. But God never said, like, all these different countries and all these different tribes are going to join as one. The fact of the matter is, if they join as one, they're no longer separate tribes. They are all one tribe, and that would be Israel. But if you are all against God, then you're all going to take on different beliefs of all these other gods, and so you're always going to be separate, not only from God, but from each other as well. So, there's really only one option for all of Africa to truly join together in love, and it's not going to be, the humanistic belief of Pan Africanism. Like, I'm sorry. I am glad that he got to go over there and experience all these different countries, because it sounds like he went to like quite a few countries, like 10 of them over in Africa, because he said he's looking for his roots. And a lot of black people are like, I don't really feel like I'm, first off, I know I'm not wanted here, but secondly, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be here in the first place. This is not my home. But then, as it's written, we're strangers here on this earth, so we have a home in heaven. New Jerusalem will come down on this earth, and we will be at home with God. And that doesn't mean we're going to die either, guys, so don't take it that far. It means we get a new heaven and a new earth, and we will be one with God again. So that's the greatest of all places to be. But I do think that the Father is calling a lot of people to Africa for a purpose. I know I had a dream a couple years ago that I would be helping at an orphanage. I don't know where exactly, but it was definitely a dream. I've had several other brothers talk to me saying that they feel like God is leading them there. So I think it is. The first will be the last, and the last will be the first, because I do think a lot of his people are in Africa, and they're staying true to him. Whereas the West has adopted a lot of beliefs that aren't necessarily of him. And they refuse to follow his laws, his statutes, and his commandments because of these beliefs. Whereas when I go to a Facebook group concerning Africans, it's just different. Like, they actually want to follow his ways, and they want to follow the law, and they understand that they can be sinless through Christ. So you try telling a Gentile that, and you're a Pharisee. Big difference. So yeah, I don't know. I think I just want to make people aware of this, because I kind of feel like this mentality is of the New World Order. Like, they keep trying to talk about, oh, you're just supposed to love everybody and love, love, love. And they give the most vague definition of love that is not really God's love at all, because there is a difference between man's humanistic understanding of love and godly love. Godly love corrects and directs to God, guides to God, teaches people in the way of God. Ungodly love says, God just loves you as you are. You don't have to change a thing. You're perfect. This isn't a sin. That isn't a sin. That feels like love, but it's literally hate, because when you start condoning people's sin and just accepting them for whatever, oh, well, you killed this person, but I love you, I won't call the cops, everyone deserves forgiveness, then you're condoning hate at that point. So we need to learn the difference between those things. To worship these other gods is hate, and to basically say we're all supposed to join together because we're all African is hate. Doesn't sound like it, but when you're telling me that I have to join with this country that worships a Sean because they're black, and that goes against the creator of the universe, then that's hate. So we should learn the difference. You guys be blessed. Have a good one. Bye.